So our process, I've talked about it. I talked about it the very first day we were together. I am very much of a scaffolding teacher where I like to build layer by layer until we end up figuring out how to do something. So we started off with just playing with the paintbrush tool in Photoshop. Then we went into the eraser a little bit, created things, made multiple layers. Then we went into cutting things out. We got into SpongeBob, opened the SpongeBob picture. We cut out SpongeBob. Last class, we talked about how to paste SpongeBob onto something else, and then went through and did that process again on your own, cutting out somebody else. And now we are to where we're at today, which is adding one more aspect. Sorry, comment. What? But you're in Sun River. That's the... You're just bragging. I see how it is, Olivia. All right. So this is what we got. This is the desert picture that we downloaded last class. I just realized it might be helpful to have these pictures and stuff on your assignment so you can get them there instead of trying to go on the website. Huh? Yeah, Mr. Renoso, figure that one out. Okay, I'll get those posted on there for you too if you're struggling with getting those loaded. But here's our desert picture that we have. We have our SpongeBob picture that we have cut out. Ooh, I colored on mine a little bit. There it is. So we have our SpongeBob thing. So to go over it again to make sure we're all on the same page, I can go select all. You should have these steps written down somewhere in your notes, how to copy and paste an image. So I go to select and then all, it's your first choice. That gives me my marching ants around the outside. I'm then going to go to edit and go down to copy. You can also press Control-C if that's what you would like to do. And then I'm going to go to the desert. Alexa, I have a video of the last class posted on the assignment. So you can go check that out and watch that video and get caught up. Not right now, but it'll make more sense when you rewatch it later. I have the desert open now, and I'm going to go to edit and paste. And when I paste it, my SpongeBob is now here. You see over in my layers that I have on the right-hand side, I have a background layer and I have my layer 1. Something else you can do, I haven't covered this yet, but it's a nice little fun fact. If I double-click on my layer 1, it will allow, if I double-click on the text of my layer, it'll allow me to change this. So I can write SpongeBob. So that's my SpongeBob layer. We talked about using our move tool, moving SpongeBob around. We also talked about our transform tool. Pop quiz for the day. Because anybody type into the sidebar what the quick key is for your transform tool? Daniel, congratulations. You win. Well, you're first at least. Control and T. Control and T is the quick key. So if I press Control T, you win the opportunity to win. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's good. You win. So it's kind of like, whose line is it anyways? You get 5 million points that go towards absolutely nothing. So if I press Control T, I get, remember what's called a bounding box. Bounding box is our box with the little white boxes around the outside of it. That bounding box allows me to click a corner and drag my SpongeBob and make them larger. Or if I hover outside of it, it gives me a curved arrow and allows me to spin SpongeBob and rotate him somewhere if I would like to do so. Okay. Then once you got SpongeBob set, the next part of the assignment was you needed to find someone else that you wanted to fight SpongeBob. You needed to cut them out. So I'm going to press Control A, which is the quick key to select all. I'm going to press Control C, which is the quick key to copy. I'm going to go back to my desert. I'm going to press Control V, and now I have Deadpool set out here. I don't want Deadpool to be smaller than SpongeBob because that just doesn't seem right. So I'm going to press Control T. I'm going to make him a little bit larger. Yoo-hoo! And when I do that, I realize that I have all these little pieces that I've missed. As I zoom in, I have these little flare eraser pieces. If you're not sure if you left anything, just click on your person and move them around, and then you'll see it. And you're like, oh, there are little extra stuff, extra things. So what I would want to do at that point is take my eraser and just come back and clean some of these things up. Make sure I don't erase any parts of the body that I want to keep. But again, I don't need to be crazy specific with you guys right now because I'm just giving you the example. Okay, I'm just going to do this real quick. Get this little wing looking thing way back here, and I think that's all right. Okay. So this is where this is about half of you are right now, okay? Getting to this spot. Now, here's the last part of this project, and this is what was the last part I'm going to talk about. This will be the last requirement for this project, and it will be due, all of this entire file will be due at the end of the day tomorrow on Friday. That way you can have the weekend to not worry about doing any extra schoolwork. Okay, so you have today and you have tomorrow to get this next part done. Okay, here we go. Last part of this is adding text. Might seem like it's pretty straightforward, but there's a couple requirements that I have on here for you still. So first thing we need to do is go down about 4 tools above our zoom tool, and there's a little T letter. I will click on that T. I'm going to click in the sky somewhere. Whoa! My text is huge. And then you see when I select that T, all of this option bar, like I've said before, changes. And so I can take my type size down. I can also, if I would like, click over here and I can change the font. Something a little easier to read. Maybe I'll go with this. Okay. It says lorem ipsum right now. What does lorem ipsum mean? It is basically a filler typeface. It's been in the design world forever. It's kind of like a Latin base, which really means nothing. It just fills words. So if I were to click and drag like a paragraph box with my type tool, it will fill the entire thing with what's called lorem ipsum, and it'll show kind of what it will look like if there were text there in a paragraph mode. It doesn't say anything or mean anything though. So what I will do, let me get rid of this, sorry. Boop. When I set the text, this is the first really important thing. So when I'm setting my text, I want to make sure I get my text tool, and then I click and release, just like that, okay? Because when I type, it will type it all out in a line for me, and I can press enter or return to go to the next line if I would like. The big problem that a lot of beginners make is they will click and drag a box like so, and then when they start typing something, it only types within that box. So they end up losing all the information, like, well, no, so my type's broken, it doesn't work. Well, it's because you clicked and made a box. You didn't adjust, or just click once on it. So I'll go here. Boom. Okay. I will click, and the type that you will have to add here, Spongebob versus, and then whoever he is fighting. Deadpool. Okay? That is what we are going to add. Spongebob versus Deadpool. Very simple. I just want you to practice on getting text onto a canvas. Okay? Now, once you do this, though, there are 2 main requirements that I'm looking for. Number one, that you select a type that you want to use. Select a font that you want to use. So right now, I can move this SpongeBob versus Deadpool around, and I can highlight it. And when I highlight it, I can come up to my type, and I can change like I did before. I can adjust typeface. Okay? Now, along with that, you have to use at least 2 different effects. Please write that down. It'll be listed in the assignment, but write it down right now. You have to use at least 2 different effects. This is what I mean by effects. As you can see, when I make my text, it puts it in a little layer up here by itself. So I have my background, I have my SpongeBob, I have layer 1, which is my Deadpool layer, and then I have the SpongeBob versus Deadpool layer that has a T on the thumbnail, because that tells me that I can still edit my text. If I have this little T here, I can come back at any time I would like with my text tool. I can click here and I can change what this says. Okay, that's good to know. Also, though, if I double click on this layer, not on the text itself, I double click on the text itself, it'll let me change that, which I don't want to do. I got to double click out here to the outside of the text. Very important note for you note takers. If I double click out here, you see what happens is it pulls up what's called my layer styles. And there's a whole bunch of different stuff I can do with my layer styles. One of them that I like to do is our drop shadow. If you look right here, I'll click on drop shadow, and now you see a shadow that pops up behind my layer. Okay, remember, this text layer is transparent, so what it's doing is it's using all the information from this transparent layer, and it's going to give it a drop shadow like that. I can also adjust this drop shadow a little bit. I can change, let me see. If I click on the text itself, it allows me to change the opacity. Opacity is a good keyword. Go ahead and write that one down real quick. Opacity is how transparent something is. So you see my opacity right now is at 40. If I take this to 100, it gets really, really dark. If I take it to 0, it becomes non-existent. So that's my opacity, is my transparency. I can even change the distance if you watch my text. This is a really short shadow. This is a really long shadow. Really long shadow. I also can change what's called the spread, which is basically how solid my shadow is. Makes the light kind of look like it's closer to it. And then how my size, what my size is in terms of how blurry the shadow is. Okay, so all those things are pretty cool. What happens is when I finish it and I back up a bit, my zoom tool, now it looks like that's kind of sitting up on top. Kind of too dark of a shadow in my opinion, but that's kind of one effect you can use. Remember I said you have to use 2. So I can go around and play with another one. Now here's one that I like to use a lot. Watch, this is kind of fun. Let me get back to this. I will go down and turn my drop shadow off just by unclicking this box. I'm going to use what's called a color overlay right here. And I'm going to fill mine white. And then I'm going to do what's called an inner shadow right up here. I'm going to adjust my size a little bit. I'm going to adjust my distance. And now what you see is it looks kind of like it's cut out of the paper and there's a shadow on the inside of it. Cool. What's some more I can do? Let me take those off. I can do an outer glow, which just gives a glow around my object, and I can change the color of that if I would like. You can get a SpongeBob yellow. And again, I can adjust the spread or the size. How soft it is, how large it is. I can kind of play with it. There's another one on here which I like. It's kind of fun. It might look weird with this typeface, though. It's bevel and emboss. And what bevel and emboss does is it makes it look like it's kind of cut out of metal. But it works better with sharp-edged letters. Well, that works a little bit. See this one right here? So there's like this little 3D effect to it. So there's some kind of fun things you can do. Moral of the story, you are going to write SpongeBob versus whoever you choose to put SpongeBob with. Sorry, I missed how you open that menu. All you do is double click on the layer on the far right hand side of it. Don't double click on the text itself because that will adjust that text. Just double click on the layer on the side. I can also do that if I wanted to with my Deadpool. If I wanted to, I can click here and I can go outer glow. And now he is a radioactive Deadpool. Okay, so pretty much any layer you have, you can do that. What the goal will be is you have your desert, you have SpongeBob, you have with a character that you have found on your own, cut and paste it on there. It all looks clean. It's all cut out really nice. And then you're going to add the SpongeBob versus Deadpool on it. That is with 2 effects at least. That is the minimum. Anything more than that you want to do is totally fine. If you want to play around with adding another character, 2 or 3 or 4, that's fine. If you want to play with the text a little bit more, that's fine. But you have to have at least 2 of those things. When this is done, you're going to go File, Save As. You always want to save your files as last name, and then the title of the project, which is SpongeBob, in this project here. Okay. And then you're going to always save it first as a Photoshop document. Okay. A PSD. It's the default. Because if something goes wrong, you want to be able to come back and fix it. Okay. If you're on your own personal computer, save it like this. Then you want to come back. Let me save it like that real fast. Yes, it's fine. Go File, Save As again. Then I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and I'm going to turn that JPEG, save that JPEG, and then I'm ready to turn it in. Okay, I don't have access to the computer or to the class like you guys do because I'm a teacher and you are students. But what you do is you come to classwork, you'll go to the assignment when I post it, and then you'll go to turn it in, and you'll add that JPEG. Okay. Now, for those of you that are on Chromebook, what you have to do. Let me open this up. You will go on your virtual desktop. You will go File, Save As. It'll ask you if you want to save it to the desktop. You select yes. Save it as your JPEG to turn it in. And then you need to open up Chromebook on that virtual desktop. Let me open this for you so I don't try to lose you too much. Sorry, I said open Chromebook. I meant open Google Drive. You open Google Chrome, go into Google Drive, and then you'll go New, or you'll find your Graphic Design 1 folder. There's my examples. You'll go New, File Upload. That's where you will find your SpongeBob picture that you just finished. I'll press Open. It will load it into your drive, and then you'll be good to go to our class and add it to your drive. Okay. questions you guys have for that stuff that I just went over. Yes, exactly, Austin. You can do you can run that remote desktop exactly like it's your own desktop. You just have to do it all inside there. You can open the classroom in there. You can add your documents in there. Everything can be done on that. It's kind of like you're just using your Chromebook to access a desktop somewhere else. Okay, so here's the deal. That is what we have and we do by the end of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow will basically be a check-in, a finish up, cleanup day. So make sure you still come back to check in. If you didn't get the attendance question earlier, it is, do you prefer hamburgers or do you prefer hot dogs? So make sure you drop an answer to if you prefer hamburger over hot dogs or vice versa. And then there are a couple of you that had questions. So please stay here so I can help you directly try to figure out how to fix the problems that you guys have, okay?